Alright people, what is happening? Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team series here on the channel. Today is round 3 in season 4. We are at the Algarve International Circuit in Portugal for the Portimao Grand Prix. Hopefully you did check out the previous race in Imola. If you didn't, make sure you go back and check that one out. And if you haven't seen the first race of the season in Bahrain, check that one out first and check out the pre-season video to start, and then you'll know everything that's going on in season 4, the calendar, just everything that's going on. Here's the standings anyway at the moment. Last season in Portugal, we did finish P3. We got a podium. It was our first podium of the season last time out, and we got fastest lap as well. It did start to rain, if you do remember that race. Very fun race for me last time out in Portugal, bouncing back from that DNF in Imola in season 3, and then obviously going on to get a podium from like P6 on the grid, I think we were, something like that. But yeah, very fun race, and started to rain and we drove amazing. But yeah, getting into Portimao this time round, let's see what we can do in this race this year, or this time out. Hopefully we can bounce back again from Imola. Not that anything went wrong with Imola really, it was just a technical fault with the Xbox meant I had to do the race twice, and instead of winning a race like I did the first time, we came P2 last time out. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the last race, but if you haven't seen the last race, I don't know why I'd be watching this video. But getting into qualifying in Portugal, I do remember the track being a lot easier than it felt. I was really looking forward to this like qualifying session and this race, but as I was driving it, I was thinking this is a lot harder than I did remember. As a track, you can see it completely missing the apex there for that hairpin. Downhill braking zone, very tricky. I always think I can brake later than I can going downhill. Obviously going downhill, gravity is doing less to slow the car down, so you've got to brake earlier. But yeah, that corner right there is probably that hairpin is probably where I can make up the most time on this lap, or just in general in Portimao, because like I say, it's a very tricky braking zone. A lot of elevation changes in Portimao makes for a very fun drive, but again, like I say, it is very tricky at some parts, and traction is definitely an issue at some places. The back end does have a tendency to skip, or to what's the word, bro, to just go out basically, and a lot of oversteer caused by those elevation changes in weight in the car. We set a 1:15.4 as our first lap of the session, and it's going to be good enough for P8 in Q1. Definitely need to improve on that. 1.6 behind our teammate Lewis Hamilton, who of course is up in P1. Who'd have thought it? Guan Yu Zhou in the Ferrari down in P16, and Yuki Tsunoda in P15 in the McLaren. Both of those two struggling to adapt to the new teams. Didn't expect it really from Yuki. I understand Guan Yu Zhou because he's new to the sport. It's a rookie season for Guan Yu Zhou here in our career mode. But Yuki Tsunoda, he's been in this Formula 1 for 4 seasons now, jumping into a decent machine in that McLaren. Thought he'd do better. Speaking of McLaren, Lando Norris, ex-McLaren driver, sets a 1:16 flat. That is the time to beat, and then Lewis Hamilton beat it straight away with a 1:15 flat. We're out on the medium tyres, trying to qualify in Q2 on the medium tyres to start the race, of course, on those mediums. If you don't know the Q2 rule by now, I'm not going to explain it because it's getting scrapped for next year. So yeah, if you don't know the rule, then don't bother to learn it because it's getting scrapped next year. In real life, supposedly, that's what I've heard. I don't know if it is from next season or if it'll be one after, but it's definitely getting scrapped. As we come to the end of our lap, you can see there's a Williams car in front of us, so hopefully he doesn't intrude too much on our lap as we understeer completely off the circuit there. I don't know if that was due to the dirty air coming off the Williams in front, or if I'm just looking for excuses there. But as you can see, again, not a very good lap. It's still good enough for P2 though. And that is just the state that we're at in this game. Bro, I can't speak this episode. What is wrong with me? I've literally just recorded the Imola episode before this, and I could speak fine. But this time I can't speak. We qualify on the medium tyres, as does Lewis Hamilton, as does Max Verstappen, as does Charles Leclerc. That is surprising to see. But yeah, we qualify on the mediums. Guan Yu Zhou out in P14 in that Ferrari. He's getting out qualified by the 2 Williams drivers. Well, on paper, the Williams is actually better than the Ferrari, so that's not too surprising. But yeah, Callum Ilott up in P1 at the end of Q2. I forgot what I was going to say before I stuttered and stuff, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Here's another rough lap, completely missing the apex there. What am I thinking? I'm still up in the delta though. That's an area right there where you go uphill, where the back end is, you know, steps out on you very easily. Down into the hairpin now, we brake earlier than we have been doing, and we get a nice exit. And it's, look at the delta, you see, you take the corner properly for once, and the delta rewards you for it. 3/10 up, heading into the trickiest corner in this lap probably. You can't get on the throttle too early there, otherwise the back end will just go. As we fly around this flat out left-hander, down into the blind apex here. As we head downhill, another area where the back end does like to step out as you get that elevation change, heading up the hill into an uphill braking zone. Gravity slows the car down there, very nice and easy braking zone. As we head now into the final corner, or second to last corner I guess, probably the worst corner for me in this qualifying session. I lost a lot of time through that final corner there. We're going to be 8.4 tenths up though as we cross the line here. Where's that going to put us? It's good enough for P3. I thought that would be good enough for P1 or P2, but at the moment it's only good enough for P3. Can we improve on this lap? Bouncing over the curb there, and no, we cannot. It's going to be P3 to start the race, same as Imola last time out. Lewis Hamilton, 3 pole positions in a row. Somebody stop this guy. Nearly 6 tenths quicker than us, and you can see we are a bit off the pace because Max Verstappen only 1.7 tenths behind. We were 5 Max Verstappen 4 tenths quicker than us in quali there. Not like what we like to see. We need to improve in the race, and let's see if we can do it.
The Circus has made its way to the southern coast of Portugal this week, and it's preparing for what I expect to be a terrific race here in Portimao. So Portimao features 15 turns over the course of its 2.9-mile length. 9 are right-handers, 6 are to the left. And this is a track with a lot of uphill action, which only accentuates the importance of getting those exits right, especially at turn 4, where a good line can present opportunities to pass on the way into turn 5. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. Let's start with Aston Martin. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have the owner driver, Ireland, Carlos Sainz and Norris, Gasly, Leclerc, Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, Russell, Mick Schumacher and Joe, Aitken, Stroll, Antonio Giovinazzi and Christian Lundgaard, Latifi, Tigtum, Mazepin and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So boys, there is the grid order in Portimao. There is the strategy we're going with. 19 laps on the medium tyres, swapping into those soft tyres on lap 19 to go 14 laps on the soft tyres. Can we make the strategy work? We've got 3 medium runners on the front 3 places on the grid. It is light out and away we go. We got off to a slow start there in phase 1 of the starts, but as we reach phase 2 and phase 3 of the starts, we go a bit quicker. Callum Ilott up the inside of us there, down into turn 1. He looks for an opportunistic move. It's not going to work, and we look for an opportunistic move up the inside of Max Verstappen there. Can we make that one stick? Yes, we can. Max Verstappen has to concede that position there. Callum Ilott takes advantage of that. Ilott up into P3. Verstappen has lost a place there. Great overtake from us to see that door open as we head down into that hairpin again. Like I say, very tricky for me. I just wasn't hitting that right all race weekend in that hairpin there. Lewis Hamilton off to a flying start. Who'd have thought Lewis Hamilton gets a good start from the race? We have a little moment there, managed to keep the car intact. Here's a replay of the start though. He shoots up the inside of Max Verstappen there. Great overtaking. Then Verstappen has a little wobble on the exit actually, which allows Callum Ilott to fly forward, and then he looked for an opportunistic move again on us round the outside into the hairpin. and then he goes up the inside. Callum Ilott, good racecraft from Ilott there to try and find a way to overtake, but you know, he can't make it stick because we're not going to allow Callum Ilott, our previous teammate from Season 1, never going to give him any room to try and overtake us, especially after we sacked him off in Season 1. It would be quite embarrassing for me to get overtaken or get beaten by the guy that we did sell in Season 1. He's obviously got a point to prove, but look at these two Red Bulls here fighting me. I feel like a matador right now. Got two bulls chasing me. Max Verstappen, great overtake on Callum Ilott there. I don't know if he's picked up on that, but Max with a great overtake on Ilott, showing Callum Ilott, look, like, you've had 3 back-to-back podiums, but I'm the big dog here at this team. You need to, you know your place, basically. But where, of course, me, Lewis, and Max are on those medium tyres, running a completely different strategy to the rest of the grid. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing as their strategy and what the top 3 as us end up doing as our strategy. Bro, what is wrong with me today? I cannot speak or what in this video. But we've pulled a gap to the car behind Max Verstappen to above a second, so he's not got DRS on us, of course, which opens at the end of lap 2. We've set a purple sector 1 there, chasing down Lewis Hamilton. He's 2 seconds ahead. The guy is like, can we do anything to try and stop this guy? But as we come towards the end of the lap now, purple in sector 1, green in sector 2, snap of oversteer on the exit there, and we go 117.3. And I thought, yeah, that's fastest lap easy. But right before we cross the line, Lewis Hamilton beats that lap by 3.5 tenths. I hate this guy. Why did I sign this guy as my teammate? I should have let him stay in that stinky Mercedes and finish P7 every race. Why did I sign Lewis Hamilton? But you know, he's the go to the sport. We had the money to sign him, of course I'm going to sign him. Then we got into like a, what is it called, like a Goldilocks zone, where we weren't too close to the car behind, so they weren't really threatening us. But then we weren't too close to Lewis Hamilton ahead, so we couldn't threaten him. You see now, now the car behind us is caught up to us. Max Verstappen 5 tenths behind. He's in DRS range on lap 11. Hamilton though, 6.9 seconds ahead. That's not tenths, that's seconds. 7 seconds ahead. The guy, like, I don't know what he eats for breakfast, bro. I don't know what he eats before the race. And there goes Max Verstappen up the inside, down that hairpin there. We just completely left the door open for Max Verstappen. Can we shoot one back up the inside there? No, that was a bad move. Verstappen would have completely wiped us both out if I would have went for that. But yeah, Verstappen, nice overtake there. I don't know what was wrong with me, bro. I knew I was doing bad on that hairpin as well. And instead of braking earlier, I just tried to brake even later every lap, and it just wasn't working out for us. And again, you see, we've bottled the hairpin, which allowed Max Verstappen to claim a position back up into P2. Can we get that position back? I don't know. We'll have to find out later on in the race. It's nearly time to box, though. Remember, we were going to lap 19. I definitely started to feel a drop-off on these tyres, though. We do stay within DRS range of Max Verstappen now, as you can see there on lap 12. Coming through turn 1 and turn 2, we go around the outside of Max Verstappen through turn 2, and we are up into P2 yet again. But as we come through now, as I head up the hill, we do concede the position back to Max Verstappen, and you'll see why in a moment. We did have to concede that position back to Max Verstappen. Yuki Tsunoda in P4 and Charles Leclerc in P5 there. Up the inside though, through the hairpin, late on the brakes. I completely outbraked ourselves yet again through the hairpin. I've mentioned it a million times, but we tried to go for an overtake there, so we had to go late on the brakes, and it just didn't work out in the slightest. Here's a replay of that moment though. Callum Ilott peels off into the pits. That's what allowed Yuki Tsunoda to get up into P4. And we go round the outside there. Try and go late on the brakes, but we have to go round the outside to avoid a collision. And in doing so, we actually overtook Verstappen off the track. So we had to give the position back. And strategically, I gave it back right before the DRS line there. And then we're going to have a snap of oversteer up the hill, but get DRS back. Then into the braking zone here, you see we just completely outbrake ourselves, completely missed the corner entirely, which allows Verstappen to just take off into the distance. And now we've lost the DRS range on Verstappen, which isn't good. So hopefully we can get that back before the end of the lap, because of course, down to turn 1, one of the easiest overtaking opportunities in Portimao, with how long the straight is with DRS as well. And there goes Lewis into the pits on lap 14, so definitely a different strategy than us if we're going to lap 19 and Lewis goes to lap 14. And there goes Max into the pits as well, and we're going to cross the line with DRS still from Max and see what we can do here, because of course we've got 4 laps now before we're meant to box, and of course then we'll see how much of a gap we can pull to the car behind Lewis Hamilton. Lad, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I can't speak. I literally just recorded a video before this and it was perfectly fine, and now I can't even think of, like, I can't put my words together. They're not coming out my mouth. What I'm thinking is not coming out my mouth. Anyway, lap 16 now. 3 laps left before we do come into box. Lewis Hamilton, 12.8 seconds behind. Now a few laps later, 1 lap left before we box. This is our in lap. He's 9 seconds behind us on hard tyres. Ilott on hard tyres as well, and Max Verstappen also on hard tyres. They've of course both gone for the medium hard strategy. Can we make the medium soft work? We've got that alternate strategy going. The only way to try and beat Lewis Hamilton, I feel, this season in these races is to do an alternate strategy, you know, do the opposite of what Lewis does. Very similar to what Max and Lewis did to each other in real life this year in Formula 1. You know, whatever one did, it seemed like the other was doing the opposite. And I feel like that is the only way we'll get the opportunity to beat Lewis. Saying that though, it's not really a pace disadvantage. I did beat him in Imola, but of course, you know, my Xbox decides to crash on me, so it is what it is. But can we beat him here in Portimao with this alternate strategy? I was going to say the tyres are falling off, but we've gone purple in Sector 1 and green in Sector 2. It just shows what I can do when I actually focus for a lap and I think, right, this is the in lap. Let's just get me head down, look at the braking points, the apexes, and let's have a good lap on the in lap. And can we set a fastest lap here? We were potentially on for the fastest lap of the race to take that point off Lewis Hamilton, but it would have meant doing another lap on these tyres, which I really didn't want to do. I wanted to get on those soft tyres as soon as possible. So we actually abandoned the fastest lap attempt and go onto these soft tyres, because I thought even if we get fastest lap on the medium tyres, we're going onto soft tyres anyway. With less fuel in the car, we should be faster anyway on the soft tyres and be able to set that fastest lap. There goes Lewis flying past us down to turn 1 before we even pull into our pit box. It's going to be interesting to see the gap to Lewis once we do pull out of the pits. There goes Verstappen past us as well. Be interesting to see the gap to him once we pull out. And here comes the other Red Bull of Callum Ilott up behind us as we head into turn 1, up the braking zone as we come out of the pits. Managed to stay in front of Callum Ilott there. Almost a collision through turn 1. But yeah, Verstappen 4 seconds ahead, Hamilton 14 seconds ahead. Not what we like to see. That's a big gap. Can we make up that time now on these soft tyres? They weren't brand new as well. I saved a set of soft tyres. I'm not like, I know a lot about Formula 1, yeah, but one thing I don't really understand is the tyre allocation over the weekend. But yeah, speaking of pace, there we go. Green Sector 1, purple Sector 2. But yeah, the tyre allocation, I didn't use a set of soft tyres in quali. There was a set of softs that I did not use in qualifying, so I thought I'd have them for the race to use as a brand new set of softs. But when I put these on, it said they were used already, so I don't understand that. But there we go. There's fastest lap of the race. Lewis Hamilton just set it then as a 1:17 flat, and we crossed the line with a 1:15.9. A very, very quick lap compared to what Lewis has just done. At least now, even if we do finish P2 or P3, we will have that fastest lap point, at least in the back of my mind. That's what I'm thinking. We'll have to wait and see by the end of the race if anyone can beat that. But again, we get to that zone where it's like Callum Ilott behind us isn't threatening us. Max Verstappen in front, just a little too far ahead for us to threaten him. So we're just in that Goldilocks zone again, where we're not too hot, we're not too cold, and we're just cruising around. I was going to say the streets of Portugal, but it's not a street circuit, so I don't know why I would ever say that. Look, I told you today my speech is not there. Yeah, purple in Sector 3 again. Soft tyres fell off a little bit. It starts to feel like I just keep laughing at myself because I feel like I can't speak. My soft tyres, yeah, felt a bit slippy. Yeah, it didn't feel like they had that much grip. But we go purple in Sector 3, purple through Sector 1 there as well on lap 26. Can we set another fastest lap of the race? Try and secure that fastest lap point, because it seems like we're not going to be able to catch Max Verstappen now. He's pulled the gap to the 5.8 seconds. Just unfortunately, we got very close to Max, and there's Daniel Ricciardo out of the session for a second race in a row. Daniel Ricciardo having a stinker as he climbs the hill. Which hill, I hear you ask? Exactly, there's about 1 million in this in Portimao, so I can't keep saying climbs the hill. But Ricciardo out of the race. This is a terrible commentary from me, but yeah, Callum Ilott now 1.2 seconds behind. The guy's actually starting to threaten me a little, and I thought we've only got 2 laps left in the race. If I get overtaken by Callum Ilott on the last lap of the race, I'm quitting. And look at that, Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race Are you kidding me, bro? 1:15.7. That's nearly 3/10 quicker than what we've just done as the fastest lap of the race, and we were on fresh soft tyres. Lewis has just done that on 20-lap old hard tyres. Are you actually kidding me? What is this game, bro? I know he's the GOAT of the sport, and I know we have the best car on the grid, but the fact he's got 20-lap, or not 20-lap, yeah, 20-lap old hard tyres, it is 20 laps, isn't it? And he's just set the fastest lap of the race by 3/10. That is ridiculous pace. I watched it back in the replays as well. He didn't have DRS. He didn't have a slipstream off no one. So how is he beat up our fastest lap by 3/10 on 20-lap old hard tyres? And then he goes on to win the race anyway. It's becoming our season is going to become that meme where it's like it's lights out and away Lewis Hamilton wins. That's actually what the races feel like now. But hopefully, it's a long season. We've got 16 races in the season. We've got 13 more races after the one you're watching today. Callum Ilott did actually manage to threaten us by the end of the race, but we managed to keep him behind there. As you can see, we crossed the line in P3, Callum Ilott P4. We're on the podium again, 3 back-to-back podiums, but still have not got a race win. Bro, I don't even know what to say. We need to improve our qualifying pace, but Lewis just seems so fast over one lap that the chances of us getting a pole position are slim, but we can definitely do it. We can definitely do it. I think it was it Imola where I was only 2/10 away, so that's been the closest we've been this season so far, 2/10 behind in quali. Even that though, 2/10 is a lot, you know what I mean? We're gonna have to find a track where Lewis is not good at and just try and make the most of it, or rely on engine failure, but we don't really want our teammate to DNF because we want points to the team, so it's a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, I can't speak today like I've said. But seeing your teammate on the podium, on the top step of the podium as well, 3 times in a row, you should be happy with that. But I'm really not, because I want to beat him, you know what I mean? So, previous seasons, if Michael did that, Michael Schumacher, or if Nico did that, Nico Rosberg, then I would have been happy for them, but the fact that we're actually trying to win the driver's title this year, because the competition is stinky, so we have the opportunity to do that. I'm battling Lewis. I feel like Nico Rosberg myself. We went to the school of Nico Rosberg in season 2, learned a lot from him as our teammate, and yeah, so hopefully we can go ahead and try and make an impact, so it's not just a boring season and Lewis Hamilton doesn't just run away from it. You'll see the standards now. I can't believe he took that fastest lap point, he's 26 points ahead of us at the minute. All we need to do is win the next race with the fastest lap and Lewis DNF, and then we're level on points. We're 55 points ahead of Red Bull in the constructors standings. Speaking of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, next up is the Spanish Grand Prix. We've not been here for 2 seasons, but going back to Spain, hopefully we don't see a Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton moment, which takes us both out of the race. In fact, hopefully we do, because it'd make for a great clickbait title. It'd make for great content. But anyway, speaking of great content, I produce great content all the time. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit like on the video, and yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch us next time. Take it easy, people.